Good evening.
If you can, but she's okay there.
Good evening. This is May 26, 2021, and tonight's the Finance Committee meeting. So I can call us to order. Agenda tonight includes some transfer requests, a vote to authorize our Chief Financial Officer to verbally approve transfers, and to look at some minutes and then adjourn. But first I want to say welcome to Diane Byrne, who's our new member on the committee. Nice to see you, Diane.
Nice to be here. Thank you.
And Patrick will be joining us soon, Patrick Jones. So the first transfer I have here is from the assessor's office, and it's coming from the travel line. It's an intra-departmental transfer from the travel line. The present balance in the travel line is $1,800. The amount requested is $1,800, and it's requested to go to the update reval line. And the reason for the transfer is to cover reval work. Any questions on this?
Make a motion to approve.
Thank you, Kevin.
Second.
Thanks, Ed. Okay,
Second.
thank you. All in favor? Let's see, Kevin.
Yes.
Ed.
Yes.
Michael.
Yes.
Diane.
Yes.
And are you here, Trevor?
Yes, I am.
You
and
are.
yes, I approve.
Okay, thank you, Trevor. And any opposed? Okay, so the transfer is approved. Let me just write your name. Okay. The next transfer is from the Council on Aging. And Mr. Kazanovich, this is an interdepartmental transfer, and they're all going to the same account, so I can take those together, correct?
That is correct.
Okay, do I hear a motion to take these 4 transfers together?
Motion to take those 4 transfers as one.
Thank you. Do I hear a
Second.
Second, thanks, Ed. So I got to do the roll call again. Let's see, all in favor. Kevin?
Yes.
Ed?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
Trevor?
Yes.
And Diane?
Yes.
And myself, yes. Okay, so these are transfers from the Council on Aging. And they're all going in, requested to transfer into the minibus account. The first request is for $500 from the programs line. And the reason for the transfer is a deficit for gasoline for the vans. The next transfer is also going to the minibus account from the office supply line, $1,500. Same reason, transfer for deficit for gas from vans. Third transfer is coming from the travel line, $250. And the fourth transfer is coming from conference and dues, $850. And the reason for all 4 transfers is to cover the deficit for gasoline for the vans. Do we have any questions?
How big is the deficit? Give me a minute, Mike. I'll give you that.
Thanks, Ed.
Currently $1,474. So just a quick explanation. Certainly, I think we're all seeing a rise in gas prices. But secondly, we did a budgetary reduction at the fall town meeting as part of the $1.3 million overall reduction. Ridership resumed earlier than we anticipated. Even when COVID was still, the numbers were high, there was still some client transportation that needed to be done for medical appointments and things of that nature. So we're just building back a little bit from what we took away, and plus the increase in gas is generating a shortfall as well.
Makes sense. Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions, or do I hear a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Thank you. So let's do the roll call. All in favor. Kevin?
Yes.
Ed?
Yes.
Michael?
Yes.
Trevor?
Yes.
Diane?
Yes.
And myself, yes. Okay, so that one's all set. The next transfers are from the police department. And there are two. The first one is coming from the Sergeant Quinn line, which has a balance of $9,130.70, and it's going into the Patrolman Quinn line. The amount requested is $3,200.93. Reason for the transfer is to offset year-end payroll deficit. Do you want to just tell us about that? Nice to see you, Lieutenant Harrigan. Do you want to tell us about
Nice to
the...
meet-
Go ahead.
Briefly, I think that when we transferred money back and forth from the sergeants to the patrol, both Quinn line and regular line item, I think there was we underestimated the number of weeks that were remaining in the calendar year. Plus, I don't think it accounted for these raise that we received in January. So that's the reason why it's now in deficit, and there's plenty of money in the sergeant line item to cover the Patrolman Quinn.
Okay, thank you. Any questions, or do I hear a motion to approve?
Motion to approve?
Thank you.
Second?
Thank you, Ed. So let's see, all in favor? Kevin?
Yes.
Ed?
Yes.
Michael?
Yes.
Trevor? Diane?
Yes.
Myself, yes. Okay, and all opposed? Okay, no one. So let's look at the next transfer, also the police department. Transfer is coming from the sergeant's account, which has a balance of $71,291.60. The amount requested is $12,000, and it's to go to the building and ground repair line. And the reason is it's the projected cost to repair main waste/sewage line. Oh boy, can you tell us about that, Lieutenant?
Sure. We've had roughly 4 to 5 sewage backups in the police department within the last several months. Because of that, we called in a company called Drainaway that was able to camera and video the main waste line. And what their suspicion is that the main line has somehow become compromised. I'm not sure if it was settling of the building or what. So in order to resolve the issue, we've had meetings with the town engineers, Drainaway, and a concrete company come out to give an estimate on how to cut the floor, to expose the line, to find out where the issue really is, and then to resolve it. So the estimate from the concrete company alone to cut the floor, to expose the pipe, was nearly $7,000. So I put in some additional money, because the plumber or whoever ends up doing the line repair work, there's going to be additional money needed for that, as well as I'm not sure if they're going to be pouring the new floor, but the flooring is going to have to be replaced also once the necessary repair is made.
Okay, thank you, Lieutenant. Does anyone have any questions?
I guess, Dan, just a quick question.
Yep.
Lieutenant, do we anticipate that? I mean, they really won't know till they kind of get down there and open this thing up. Is there the potential for coming back based on what they find?
Yeah, I don't really know. They seem to be pretty confident that they have isolated the problem. So I think that, again, with this building, I'm not going to say with 100% certainty. It's been that way for the last several years. But they seem to think that they have a pretty good handle on it. And Joanna Paquin came out and talked with the people from Drainaway, and they seem to come to the consensus that they know the general area where the pipe is probably compromised, and unfortunately it's It's a line probably 6 feet long, that where the area is where they have to cut the floor and expose the pipe. But I guess there's some other issues. There's a suspicion that we might have the gas line that runs through the right over that main line as well. So it's not anything that we're able to do on the town side. So I'm never going to say never, but I think they've come out several times. I want to say they've cameraed the line three different times. So I think that they have a pretty good handle on it. If that answers your question.
Madam Chair, one question. Eileen, if the transfer is approved tonight, are they ready to go ASAP, or do you have to
That was my understanding, that they'd be ready to go right out of the gate. We hope to get all the work completed by June, because even when we didn't think we had a problem, when they Drainaway came out to camera the line another time, we already were having a backup issue. It just hadn't made it up through the floor drain. So it's happening within a matter of weeks, where before it was like months between cleanouts. So I think it's a priority for them, and it's just a matter of lining up the plumber, but he's aware of it. So I think we'd be good to go by the end of the fiscal year.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Lieutenant. Do I hear a motion to approve this transfer?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Thank you, Kevin and Ed. All in favor? Kevin?
Yes.
Ed?
Yes.
Michael?
Yes.
Trevor?
Yes.
Diane?
Yes.
And myself, yes. Okay, I think that's it. Thank you, Lieutenant, for joining us tonight.
Thank you.
Okay, the next transfers are from for the fire department. The first one is, we have a pair of transfers, and they're both going into the firefighter salary account. So do I hear a motion to take these transfers together?
A motion to review both transfers as one.
Second.
Thank you, gentlemen. All in favor? Kevin?
Yes.
Ed?
Yes.
Michael?
Yes.
Trevor?
Yes.
And Diane?
Yes.
And myself, yes. Thank you. So the first transfer, this is for the fire department, going into the firefighter salary account, coming from the suppression account, which has a balance of $1,274.22, and that's the same amount that's requested for the firefighter salary account. Reason for transfer: insufficient funds in the firefighter's salary line. The second request is coming from the overtime account, which has a present balance of $110,275.51. Amount requested $54,626. And also go in the firefighter salary account, and again, insufficient funds in the firefighter salary line. Do you want to tell us about that, Chief Coleman?
Yes, absolutely. Thank you, Madam Chair. So this was actually a mistake during the budgeting process last year. As you are aware, the fire department received a federal SAFER grant that pays for 75% of the salaries for 2 members. This fiscal year, this current fiscal year, which when we were preparing the budget last year, we had many versions of the budget going back and forth due to some, just trying to kind of toe the line with the unpredictability of what was going on with COVID. And during some of those budget exchanges, the amount of money deducted from the budget due to the SAFER grant was inadvertently done twice. So the 55,626 represents the value of what we needed for the 25% of those 2 firefighter positions. So essentially, when we ran the number and we deducted the 75%, in the couple versions that were going back and forth, that 75% was deducted twice. So that's where the shortfall comes from.
Okay, thank you, Chief. Any questions?
a quick question for the chief. Chief, what is that significant reduction in the overtime account? How's that going to affect us getting through the end of the year?
Yeah, so great question. So we were actually in pretty good shape for the majority of the fiscal year because we were able to apply not only some of the overtime costs, but we were reimbursed for money through COVID expenses. So we actually had, at one point of the year when we were about 3/4 through the year, we had only used, maybe a quarter worth of the overtime budget because we had quite a bit of money coming in as COVID reimbursement. So we do, under normal conditions, without the COVID money, yes, we would normally not have this amount of overtime left in the line, but we have projected it out. We do believe that we will have sufficient money in overtime to make that. It'll be close, but we do project based on what we have for paid time off between now and June 30th, and we built in some buffer due to some injury and sick time. But we believe that we have enough to carry us through to June 30th. But if not for the COVID money, we wouldn't be in this position.
Okay, thank you, Chief. Any other questions, or do I hear a motion to approve?
And can I just get a quick follow-up? On that one, Chief. Relative, you mentioned use or lose time. Town employees that did not utilize much of accrued time last year were able to carry it over. Are now, I believe, have to use it by the end of the calendar year. How do you see that impacting your July and beyond budgets relative to overtime and backfill?
Yeah, another great question. The fire rescue department was in a different boat than really any other town department last year due to restrictions on vacation and things like that. The firefighters union has come to an agreement with the town on their paid time off. So actually, we're not going to see any increased paid time off between now and June 30th. We were actually able to rectify that sometime last year. So we do have a sort of a permanent carryover that's been done for them, and we're working with the CFO's office to try to address that in future years. But that will not be an impact, and that has been settled.
Okay, thanks, Chief. Ed, can you just quickly touch on that one relative to other the impacts of other budgets?
So I guess I'm not following your line of thinking, Kevin. As it applies to what other budgets?
Well, I mean, any of the other departments that maybe even police in particular, that if they've got use or lose time that they need to use now before the end of the year, basically 2 years worth of use or lose, will we see increases in overtime accounts to backfill those folks?
Okay, so yeah, I guess I follow your line of thinking here. So as a result of COVID, we made an allowance for throughout town government that would allow our employees to carry over in year one unused balance of time. And Julie, was there a cap on year one? Do you recall?
And yes, through the chair, in FY20, we allowed, because COVID started in March, so rather than running into a problem from March to last June, we allowed a carryover of FY20 to FY21. We capped that, so this current fiscal year, everybody had to use their FY20 carryover. Then we also allowed a carryover, as Ed said, townwide from FY21 into FY22 with no caps on it. But the carryover from this year has to be used in the next fiscal year. So we don't want to perpetuate that carryover. We did this as a result of when the governor put his order out last August for the travel ban. A lot of people's vacations got canceled, and we were about to run into a problem with people carrying over their time and accruing the overtime to backfill it. So we figured this was the best way to handle it. So townwide, this is what we're doing. I don't envision that we're going to have too much of a problem. I think, Eileen, I can turn to you too. I think most of the police department has been using the time that they carried over, and I don't see it accruing any more than that.
Right. We put out something in, I believe it was March, putting people on notice that they had to use their time. So we don't anticipate that being a problem or a huge impact to our overtime budget.
So Kevin, it does require a management of staffing, but it did not create any additional liability.
Thank you, everyone, for answering that. Nothing else, Ann.
Okay, great. Do I hear a motion to approve these two transfers?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, all in favor? Oh, and all in favor, Kevin?
Yes.
Ed?
Yes.
Michael? Trevor?
Yes. I was a yes, I'm sorry.
That's okay. And Trevor's yes. Diane?
Yes.
And myself, yes. And Patrick, welcome to the committee. Nice to see you.
Thank you. Sorry, I was a few minutes late. I had to piggyback an appointment.
Okay, I understand. Thank you. So the motion is approved, okay, and the transfer is approved. All right, the next transfer, also from the fire
Madam
department. Yes.
First of all, I'd like to welcome Patrick.
Yes.
Nice to see you again, Patrick. Welcome aboard. And I see Trevor. I see the second sheriff has arrived.
Yeah.
So I want to wish you and the missus congratulations. Baby looks adorable.
And Michael,
Thank you very much.
Michael, your baby looked pretty cute there too. He looked wide awake.
Yeah, unfortunately, he was not interested in joining the committee for now, though, I guess.
Okay. All right. So the next transfer, also from the fire department, coming from the overtime account, which now has a balance of $45,466.43. The amount requested is $12,000 going into the medical supply line, and that's to cover the deficit in the account. So Chief Coleman, is this for the ambulance?
It is, yeah. This is the medical supplies line item. And, you know, if you have additional questions, Mr. Kazanovich can answer. But our deficit was actually much larger than this. But we were able to apply much of this deficit towards COVID relief money, somewhere in the neighborhood of about $14,500, maybe close to $15,000 to offset that deficit. We bought a lot of, personal protective equipment, that normally isn't purchased in the course of the year. We're starting to see a slowdown on that now, which is good. But even after the application of the COVID money, we still had a deficit of somewhere around a little over $8,000. So in order to close the current shortfall that we have and then to try to get us to June 30th is where we come up with the total requested amount of $12,000. Unfortunately, much like everything else in every industry right now, we've seen increases in medical supplies. We've seen increases and in some cases shortfalls on medications. I don't know where it ends, and I don't know. We're going to watch it closely. I don't know if what we're paying for medical supplies, especially in the medication realm with drugs, I don't know if this is the new norm or if when things kind of get back to normal and people are caught up on supply and demand, if those costs will return to what they were pre-COVID. But unfortunately, that has driven some of our expenses on the supplies line up to normal, more normal than what we're used to.
Okay, thank you, Chief. So this will get us through to the end of the year, is what I heard too. Okay, do I hear a?
Yeah, that's the intent. That is the hope.
Okay, all right. Do I hear a motion to approve this transfer?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Thank you, gentlemen. All in favor? Kevin?
Yes.
Ed?
Yes.
Michael?
Yes.
Trevor? Diane?
Yes.
And myself, yes. And Patrick?
Yes.
Thank you. I think Trevor's frozen, so the motion, the transfer is approved. Thank you. Okay.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just want to welcome Diane and Patrick to the committee. I look forward to meeting them both in person. So welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, the next group of transfers are from the DPW Highway Department. This first transfer is coming from wages full-time, which has a balance of $44,739.34. And amount request is $95 to go to the drug and alcohol testing line, and that's for mandatory drug testing by Mass DOT. Do I hear a motion to approve?
Motion to approve?
Second.
Okay, all in favor? Kevin?
Yes.
Ed?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
Trevor?
Yes.
Diane?
Yes.
Patrick?
Yes.
And myself, yes. So the transfer is approved. The next transfer, DPW Highway Department, coming from the wages line, which has $44,562.01. Amount requested is $25,000, and that's going to the fleet maintenance line. Reason for transfer, transfer will allow fleet maintenance to catch up on all outstanding mechanical issues. And the repair of a six-wheel dump truck high-pressure engine cooler motor, the damage is estimated to cost $14,000. Do you want us to, nice to see you, Mr. Coyle. Do you want to tell us about that?
Sure. Good evening, everybody. So we are requesting $25,000 to hopefully get us through the rest of the year. We currently have, I believe, 3 cruisers that are in need of maintenance, and I believe 2 ambulances, in addition to the six-wheel dump truck indicated here. This would allow our mechanics to clean up the backlog of maintenance work currently needed. What we don't know is whether or not anything unforeseen potentially could happen over the next month, but at this point, this will put us in pretty good shape unless there's some major expenses that we're not anticipating.
Okay, thank you. Any questions?
Motion to approve?
Second.
Thank you, gentlemen. All in favor? Kevin?
Yes.
Ed?
Yes.
Michael?
Yes.
Trevor?
Yes.
Diane?
Yes.
Patrick?
Yes.
And myself, yes. So the transfer is approved. The next transfer is for DPW Highway, coming from wages full-time, which, let me just check this balance. Which has a balance of $44,739.34. The amount requested is $1,292.83 to go to the civil engineer line. And the reason this transfer will cover the wages in the account.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Okay, thank you. All in favor? Kevin?
Yes.
Ed?
Yes.
Michael?
Yes.
Trevor?
Yes.
Diane?
Yes.
Patrick?
Yes.
And myself, yes. So the transfer is approved. Okay. Next transfer, let's see, from also DPW Highway. Now, both of these transfers are going to the overtime line. So do I hear a motion to take these 2 transfers together?
Motion to take them together.
Thank you.
Second.
Okay, all in favor? Kevin?
Yes.
Ed?
Yes.
Michael?
Yes.
Trevor?
Yes.
Diane?
Yes.
Patrick?
Yes.
Thank you, and myself. Okay, so let's see, sand and gravel. The transfer is coming from the sand and gravel line, which has a balance of $5,000. Amount requested is $5,000, and this is going to the overtime account to cover the Highway Department snow and ice deficit. for overtime. And the next transfer coming from part-time wages, which has a balance of $3,111.73. The amount requested, $3,008.41, going to overtime account. And again, reason to cover the Highway Department snow and ice deficit overtime. So, Mr. Coyle, can you, I thought we were going to have no deficit this year.
But sure, if I could explain, Madam Chair. So overall, we do not have a deficit. I believe we finished somewhere, rough numbers, probably somewhere around 50,000 in the black, I believe, based on the numbers that my clerk provided me. So we are not in the red, but these individual line items are. So the sand and gravel account, which is the snow and ice account, has 5,000 remaining in it, and then the part-time wages has over 3,000. So the overtime account covers the highway employees. So when they get called out to treat the roads for just an icing situation, that's just the highway employees typically. The part-time wages account is for the parks, cemetery, and sewer employees. So as you can see, we had called the highway employees in more frequently than we needed to call in the other employees. And because of that, we ran into a deficit with just the highway crew, but with funds available and part-time wages. So overall, we did finish, I think, as Ed can attest to, I think this is the second year that we finished in the black, which is great. And the winter, what I believe, if my recollection was correct, I think we did finish off with either somewhere around 5-6 feet of snow, so it wasn't too bad of a winter.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Coyle. So
Madam
these,
Chair,
yes.
Madam Chair, Mr. Coyle is correct. Looking at the numbers just before the meeting opened up, we had about 48,000 unencumbered, 9,000 encumbered, and I'm sure a portion of that 9 is going to be released and go back in as a surplus. But a 2-year run, historical, unprecedented. I've been in this business for 30 plus years. I don't ever remember closing back-to-back years with a surplus in snow and ice. So let's hope we can keep the trend going. I kiddingly tell Mr. Coyle when we get a snowstorm, put salt down with a teaspoon so we can save some money.
Okay.
I thought it was a Dixie cup. Now we're down to a teaspoon.
Whatever it may be, I commend Bill and his crew for managing those funds very well. They do their best with what they have, and so hopefully, like I said, maybe we can brag one more time next year and call it 3 years in a row.
Okay.
Thank you.
You jinxed us, Ed.
Uh-oh.
Be careful, no good deed goes unpunished.
All right. So do I hear a motion to approve these 2 transfers?
Motion to approve.
Second?
Okay, all in favor. Kevin?
Yes.
Ed?
Yes.
Michael?
Yes.
Trevor?
Yes.
Patrick?
Yes.
Diane?
Yes.
And myself, yes. So the transfers are approved. All right, next transfer, also interdepartmental, DPW Sewer Division. The first is coming from the wages line. It has a balance of $63,230.34. Going in, amount requested $8,000 going to the overtime account to cover the estimated deficit due to alarms and emergency sewer line repair. Do you want to tell us, Mr. Coyle, about that?
Sure. The bulk of this deficit was a result of a sewer main break that we experienced in, I believe it was early in February. On Route 12, we had a 14-inch force main let go, and we were on site for probably the better part of 30 hours continuously working on with RH Whites to repair this line. So as a result of that, obviously we had significant amount of time with our crews working there as well.
Okay, thank you. Do I hear a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Second?
Okay, all in favor, Kevin?
Yes.
Ed?
Yes. Yes.
Michael?
Yes.
Trevor?
Yes.
Diane?
Yes.
Patrick?
Yes.
And myself, yes. All right, so that one's approved. The next one, also coming from wages, which now has a balance of $55,230.34. Amount requested $20,000, and it's going to the electricity line to cover National Grid bills estimated through June 30th, 2021. Any questions about that?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Thank you. All in favor? Let's see. Kevin?
Yes.
Ed?
Yes.
Michael?
Yes.
Trevor?
Yes.
Diane?
Yes.
Patrick?
Yes.
And myself, yes. So that transfer is also approved. Okay.
Madam Chair, if I could add, just wanted to make one point that we did increase the budget on electricity in FY22, $20,000, so that we don't run into this situation again.
Okay.
I think the solar credits have not amounted to what we thought that they would.
Okay, thank you. All right, next transfer is from the cemetery department. The first is coming from the seasonal line, which has a balance of $4,579.09. The amount requested is $1,157. It's going to the wages line, and the reason is to offset current payroll projected deficit. Any questions?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, all in favor. Kevin?
Yes.
Ed?
Yes.
Michael?
Yes.
Trevor?
Yes.
Diane?
Yes.
Patrick?
Yes.
And myself. So the transfer is approved. The next transfer, also in the cemetery department, is from the seasonal line, which now a different seasonal line, which now has a balance of $23,864.37. Amount requested $2,800 to go into the overtime account to offset current payroll projected deficit. Any questions?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, all in favor. Kevin?
Yes.
Ed?
Yes.
Michael?
Yes.
Trevor?
Yes.
Diane?
Yes.
And Patrick?
Yes.
And myself, yes. So that transfer is also approved. And the, looks like the last transfer for the highway department is the Packagug Golf Course. The first transfer is coming from the contingency account, which has a balance of $8,872.88. Amount requested $2,974.49, going into the banking charges line. I assume it's because there's a, and Mr. Coyle, I assume it's because there's a deficit in the line?
Correct. It's actually maybe not necessarily a bad thing. I think with the increased number of golfers we've had over the past fiscal year, people are using the debit cards and credit cards more, so we're charged more. So it's not necessarily a bad thing that we have this charge, because that means there's more use.
Okay, thank you. Do I hear a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, thank you. All in favor. Kevin?
Yes.
Ed?
Yes.
Michael?
Yes.
Trevor?
Yes.
Diane?
Yes.
Patrick?
Yes.
And myself, yes. So that transfer is approved. The next transfer, also for Packagug Golf Course, also coming from the contingency account, which now has a balance of $5,898.39. Amount requested $1,120.92 to go to the fertilizer and materials line. Do I hear any questions?
Motion to approve?
Second.
Okay, thank you. All in favor? Kevin?
Yes.
Ed?
Yes.
Michael?
Yes.
Trevor?
Yes.
Diane?
Yes.
Patrick?
Yes.
And myself, yes. Great. So that transfer is also approved. Thank you, Mr. Coyle.
Thank you very much. Have a good night.
You too. Bye. Okay, so our next transfer is from the General Services Department, in the General Services Department, streetlights. The transfer is coming from the streetlight account, which has a balance of $29,687.48. Amount requested, $20,000 to go to the electricity line. Could you tell us about this, Mr. Kazanovich?
Sure. So I think like the explanation that Mr. Coyle gave, our solar credits have been shrinking over the past several years. We weren't getting the level of credits due to the market, and certainly that's playing a part into this. Also, I think you're seeing the benefit of the LED streetlight conversion, creating a savings in the streetlight account. They're both electricity accounts, but we track those separately for various purposes. That's the explanation. It's a combination of two things. So
Okay.
I hope that answers your question.
And will this get us through the end of the fiscal year?
I asked that the projection include an estimate for June, so this should get us through the end of the fiscal year, Madam Chair.
Okay, thank you. Any questions?
Motion to approve?
Second.
Thank you. So all in favor? Kevin?
Yes.
Ed?
Yes.
Michael?
Yes.
Trevor?
Yes.
Diane?
Yes.
Patrick?
Yes.
And myself, yes. So the transfer is approved. The next transfer is coming from the, in General Services, coming from the water sewer heating line, which has a balance of $7,363.20. Amount requested $5,000 to go to the telephone line. So, Mr. Kazanovich, will this get us through the end of the fiscal year?
So this will get us through the end of the year. I can tell you that over the past several fiscal years, we've done a transfer into the telephone account. Towards the end of the fiscal year, we did increase it from the current year to next year by a level of $3,000. So hopefully that adjustment will adequately meet our needs.
Okay. Thank you. Any questions? Or do I hear a motion to approve?
Motion to approve?
Second.
Thank you. All in favor? Kevin?
Yes.
Ed?
Yes.
Michael?
Yes.
Trevor?
Yes.
Diane?
Yes.
Patrick?
Yes.
And myself, yes. Okay, thank you. So that's approved. The next transfer is under the town manager line, coming from the clerical line, going to the manager line. The clerical line has a balance of $11,685.55. Amount requested $4,803.39 to the town manager line. Reason, to provide funds to cover the additional compensation due to the town manager for successful evaluation. Any questions?
Second.
Okay, all in favor? Kevin?
Yes.
Ed?
Yes.
Michael?
Yes.
Trevor?
Yes.
Diane?
Yes.
Patrick?
Yes.
And myself, yes. Okay, thank you. So the next transfer also coming from the clerical line, which now has a balance of $6,882.16. Amount requested is $1,000 to go to the town audit line. This is an additional cost due to recent GASB reporting requirements, GASB reporting requirements. Any questions?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, all in favor? Kevin?
Yes.
Ed?
Yes.
Michael?
Yes.
Trevor?
Yes.
Diane?
Yes.
Patrick?
Yes.
And myself, yes. So those transfers are approved. We have the next transfers. Both of them are requests from the reserve account, one going to the negotiator line and one to the town council line. Let's see, town council, the amount requested is $15,000 from the reserve fund, and the present balance in that account is $3,851.09. So could you tell us about this, Ed?
Sure, Madam Chair. I think we've indicated through several discussions with the Finance Committee that it's been an active year in terms of litigation, both for General Counsel and for Labor Counsel. So that being said, there are a number of current active cases that are still ongoing that are going to continue. Two cases are being litigated through outside counsel, and the cases are being monitored by our own general counsel and labor counsel. That's very typical when the town is being sued. Our own counsel makes sure that the town is protected in all areas. So they're our watchdogs. So these cases are active. Some are going to continue. And we'll keep you up to speed and bring you up to date when the situation allows us to.
Okay, thank you. So we have the, any questions? So we have the transfer request for $15,000 going to the town council line. Do I hear a motion to approve?
So I just have one question.
Sure.
Is there any chance of doing another executive session to hear more about these cases at some point off the public record to keep it confidential?
So what I could say is we could have a discussion with our general counsel and our labor counsel to see if they feel as though we can release information to you at this time.
I just have a question for Ed. Does legal actually keep an idea of what they think that they're going to spend during the year? So if they know that they have a certain amount of hours, some cases can go over fiscal year. But do we, in our legal account, say, gee, we may want to put $30,000 there just because we know we're going to have this throughout the year, and now we're over, or is there not a buffer for anticipated work?
So, Patrick, that's a great question. Certainly, we measure two things. We look at trends to see what's being expended on an annual basis. We look at the cycle of negotiations to see when they're going to come before us, when we have to sit down at the table, and when we're going to need labor counsel to support and help town administration. But certainly there are a lot of unknowns during the year. Some things are unforeseen, and we get blindsided by something that we never anticipated. If there is a residual balance because there's ongoing litigation, I have the authority to carry over any unexpended funds to meet legal obligations that are currently being litigated. So to that extent, it gives us a little flexibility, but we're just transferring an amount that we believe will cover the actual bills through June 30th.
So do you take and encumber money, therefore, so if you have a balance at the end of this year, I know that's not the case because we're actually asking to transfer, but do you ever have an overage that you encumber because of the timing of the case?
So, yeah, I will commit that as a reserve for encumbrance and carry that over to the next fiscal year, knowing
Okay.
that there's an overlap of legal services. It's migrating into the next fiscal year.
So in this case, we spent what we had and we need to move more money.
Yes, correct.
Great, thank you.
Okay, good questions. Any other questions?
Madam Chair, one other thing, just to let the Finance Committee know that this is coming out of the reserve account. This is the first transfer out of the reserve account this fiscal year. So we have 220,000. This is the first time we dipped into those, which is good news.
Good news.
It is, definitely.
Motion to approve.
Okay,
Motion to approve.
thank you, Patrick.
Second.
Second, thank you. All in favor? Kevin?
Yes.
Ed?
Yes.
Michael?
Yes.
Trevor?
Yes.
Diane?
Yes.
Patrick?
Yes.
And myself, yes. So this transfer is approved. So as I stated, the second transfer is also from the reserve account going into the negotiator line. Amount requested is $20,000. Present balance in the account, there's a deficit of $6,813.01. Do I hear a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, all in favor? Kevin?
Yes.
Ed?
Yes.
Michael?
Yes.
Trevor?
Yes.
Patrick?
Yes.
Diane?
Yes.
And myself, yes. So that transfer is also approved. The, let's see, we have two more transfers here. The first one is also coming from the salary wage reserve account. Reason for the transfer is, actually, it's going into the buyback account. Amount requested, $0. Maybe this transfer is not. And the present balance in said account, $7,733. Option for 10-day, yes.
Those amounts are reversed, so.
Yeah, okay.
The amount requested should be $7,733.
Yep.
Present balance in said account is $0.
Thank you. And the reason for the transfer is option for 10-day buyback in accordance with employment contract. And this is for the town manager. So any questions?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Thank you. So all in favor, Kevin?
Yes.
Ed?
Yes.
Michael?
Yes.
Trevor?
Yes.
Diane?
Yes.
Patrick?
Yes.
And myself, yes. Thank you. So the last transfer is coming from the salary wage reserve. This is the town accountant department into the buyback line. So present balance in the account is $0, and the amount requested $5,608. And that's to, this is because reason is option for 10-day buyback in accordance with employment contract.
Motion to approve.
Thank you.
Second.
Okay, all in favor, Kevin?
Yes.
Ed?
Yes.
Michael?
Yes.
Trevor?
Yes.
Diane?
Yes.
And myself, yes. So that transfer is also approved. All right, so that's the end of the transfers. We just have a few other things left here. The first is we should make a motion, as we do every year around this time, to authorize our Chief Financial Officer, Mr. Kazanovich, to verbally approve transfers up to $250 to close out the fiscal year 2021. So do I hear a motion to authorize the Chief Financial Officer to verbally approve transfers up to $250 to close out the fiscal year 2021?
Motion to approve.
Thank you.
Second.
Okay, thank you. Let's see, all in favor. Kevin?
Yes.
Ed?
Yes.
Michael?
Yes.
Trevor?
Yes.
Diane?
Yes.
Patrick?
Yes.
And myself, yes. Okay, and let's see, we have minutes that were sent out to us in email. Does anyone have any questions about the minutes? No? Okay, hearing no questions, they're accepted as emailed to us, as presented. And I want to ask Mr. Kazanovich, so when do we get to meet in person again?
So, as I'm sure you're all aware, the governor's restrictions have been lifted on May 29th in a few days. And so our thinking was, provided there are no other guidance from the Commonwealth, we would be prepared to meet in person after that. So I think we're going to prepare, and I know there's some language being proposed by the governor that would allow for the continuation of remote meetings. That doesn't mean we can't, but it does allow for an option, probably a hybrid option of a combination of both. My guess is that will continue probably through September timeline. Would you say that's accurate, Julie?
Yes. Yes, I agree.
But we could meet as a group at our next meeting. So I'm thinking we'd have to meet one more time in June to meet our year-end obligations. Or we may be able to carry that off sometime in September if you allow us to by notification, prepare the transfers, knowing that it's going to create a deficit and that the Finance Committee can take action in sometime in July. So we can have that discussion. I don't know what level of transfers are going to be required. We try to clean everything up as we could through today, but certain things do creep up on us that we don't anticipate. But I think we got the bulk of what we needed by your action tonight.
Okay. So you'll let us know, Mr. Kazanovich, the next time we need to meet. That's fine. Okay, and it looks like you said some people can come in person, and some people, if they would prefer, perhaps can stay at home and have remotely meet with us.
Actually, if I can just jump in, that would be our intent.
Good.
But as Ed said, right now, the law that allows for remote participation went into place in March of 2020.
Oh.
That law expires with the expiration of the governor's state of emergency on June 14th. So as Ed mentioned, the governor filed legislation to extend that law
All right.
to September. If the legislature does not pass that legislation that was filed yesterday, then on June 14th, the ability to have remote participation in any form, hybrid or not, goes away.
Okay.
So at that point, we would be forced to have all in-person meetings.
Okay.
Our hope would be that it would get passed, and as Ed said, that then we can continue to have even a hybrid model where those who can get in can, those who have health concerns or, babies perhaps, or some other things, can participate from home fully. And the hope of the governor is that then the legislature can kind of revise the existing laws regarding remote participation. I know our Board of Selectmen looked at it several years ago when the law first came out and voted against it. There were a lot of pieces to it that made it very complicated at the time, including we didn't have the technology.
Right.
So there were issues with regard to planning board meetings and how will people see the plans, all those things that we were forced to deal with instantly last March. And now I think, you know, due to our great IT director, Mike Marino, who's on the call, and just the technology that's available to us, we have the ability to have these meetings now. So I think the governor's intent is to work with the legislature, see if they can tweak the existing laws so that it will make it palatable for boards of selectmen to vote to adopt remote participation outside of an emergency measure. So that's our hope. But if that doesn't pass come June 14th, it went back at full in person.
Okay, thank you. I'll be awfully glad if I can just say all in favor and everyone says aye, and I don't have to go through the roll call anymore. I'll tell you, that is what I'm looking forward to. Wow.
That is, yeah.
All right, does anyone have any other questions, concerns? No?
If I can just jump in, I just want to also just thank all of you and thank you all for being supportive of us, especially throughout this past year. It's certainly been a challenge for everyone, and we're grateful to have all of you. And also, again, want to welcome Diane and Patrick. And let you know if you have any questions at any time, Ed and I, our door is always open. Give us a call. Our door is actually open now. You can come see us. You don't have to call. We opened Town Hall on May 10th with no restrictions other than masks, and at that point that goes away on Monday also. But we're available to help you out with anything that you might need. And as you all know, or most of you know, at town meeting they did pass the articles for the library pedestrian bridge, Goddard Park. So we're so excited. So we want to thank all of you because we're starting to work on that now. Our next step is design, and it's just incredibly exciting. Thank you for all your support. I really think the Finance Committee's support and back of it helps get.
Thank you, Julie. And I want to thank Kevin Kennedy, who is still sitting in his darkened car now at the game, okay? Or at the practice that I'm assuming is rained out. So thank you, everyone, for participating tonight and stopping in. Any other questions, or do I hear a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Okay. Second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, goodbye.
Hi, everyone.
Bye.
Night, everyone.
Good
Night, everybody.
Bye.